Hey, this is Ashley Victoria Robinson coming to you live from the Popverse here at C2E2, and I am joined by the genius Jean Ha, architect of May and superstar behind Wonder Woman Historia Volume 2. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure talking to all of you.
Aw, thank you. Now, our editor-in-chief, Chris Arant, says that you are one of the sweetest people in comics. What is it like to be so nice in such a precarious industry?
I'm using this in modern sense. I have came in privileged position in various ways. So I came in during a boom in the 90s. I was welcomed in. Jim Lee had recently trailblazed the idea that a Korean American artist can be the most popular superhero artist in the world. Mm-hmm. So it's suddenly like everyone just assumed, hey, Jean Ha, maybe he can draw. And eventually I became the artist they hoped I would be.
I didn't know that you were also a poet, Jean Ha, who can draw. That's good branding.
I'm going to have to put that on my banner now.
Yeah. Congratulations on Wonder Woman Historia.
Oh, thank you so much.
What can you tease for people who haven't checked it out yet?
Let's see. Oh, do we have a... Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to remember where on the table it is. I'm just going to say it's a prehistory of the Amazon... Well, not prehistory. It's a history of the Amazons before the birth of Diana. Mm-hmm. Showing the rise of Queen Hippolyta before she's actually a queen, and how the gods were battling against each other behind the scenes, and the Amazons came out of that conflict.
Has the Eisner buzz around it brought you a lot of attention here at C2E2?
See, this is why you need to follow Popverse, because until now I did not know that Volume 2 had gotten Eisner buzz, so hopefully, tell me more later.
Yeah, really? So what is your process like? You're really known for drawing traditionally. Can you break down the tools that you use, and is it different working on something like Wonder Woman versus May?
Let me see. So May, I have recently started using more digital tools.
Woo.
So I draw it. Hi, we have friends all over the place, so I will occasionally be waving at my cool friends. I am drawing currently in Procreate on an iPad Pro for print. But this is not an actual marker drawing, but I'm going to drag something out here. I also like doodling with markers. You like using Copic markers, so this was originally a Copic marker drawing I've turned into a print. It's detailed enough so that this was originally a letter-sized print drawing. And I used that also in the Marvel's anthology story that was helmed by Alex Ross. Uh-huh. So if you want to find out more about the comic book version of Wong from the Doctor Strange universe, or Doctor Strange stories, it's kind of officially part of it now. So
Wong also having a very big moment post Multiverse of Madness right now, so you're trailblazing.
Yeah, I kind of felt like he was Doctor Strange's Alfred, and Alfred is very cool, but I wanted to expand out on the universe of... This sounds so strange saying this. The universe of Wong.
The multiverse of Wong.
Yeah.
So as a Kickstarter fan of May, I have to ask, what does the future hold for her?
I have Volume 3 plotted out, but I can't name names yet, but I'm working with a well-known young adult author who's worked in prose and comic books, and we're working on a pitch for a post-apocalyptic YA graphic novel. Wow,
holy smokes, YA, you're gonna take over not only comics, but the entire industry at this point.
Oh man, I'm just gonna say just in the United States alone, there are so many talents who are so brilliantly good. I'm looking across the aisle at Kat Lay's booth. Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm going to take over, but if I can stand among legends, it is a cool place to be, which is, of course, why we all come to Comic-Cons. So
it's really popular to ask writers what it's like working with artists, but as an artist and a writer yourself, you've straddled both lines. So what is some of your best advice for collaborative creation in comics?
So if one or both of you are new to comics, and you get a chance to work with someone who's more experienced, the person who's more experienced has to kind of take a teaching role. So like if you're writing a script for someone who's new in comics, you have to add a little more detail to explain the process of your storytelling. On the other hand, if you're an artist working with a writer who hasn't done comics before, you have to explain different techniques you can use to get their story and their ideas and the characters across using visuals instead of prose. If you're both experienced, you got to trust each other, and you don't have to be as detailed or don't have to explain as much, and you just know this is how this person works, and I want to be part of that process.
Is that any different than your general advice you would have for somebody trying to break into the comic book space?
The advice on how to break into comics has changed so much over the last few years. At this point, it's really it's no longer about having a portfolio of artwork. It's about having a story you've published somewhere, including online, and then being able to show that to somebody, say, here's the kind of storytelling I do, and if you want to hire me or whatever, or bring me on board your project, you can see how good I am. It's get your project out there, and a lot of people think, I don't want to publish yet, or I don't want to go online with a webcomic yet, because I'm not good enough. And that's never true. If you look at if you look at the first issue of a lot of very popular webcomics, the writing's clunky, the art's horrible, and then a few months later into that story, you'll see, oh, they finally figured it out. And no one holds it against the creators that the first story was not there yet.
Do you have any great mentors, or were there any books that you followed that you were using when you were breaking in and learning how to make comics?
Spider-Man is walking by. Hi, Punk Spider-Man. And he's on the cover of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. That's a classic. Let me see. Scott McCloud, but man.
Great book.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember her name. Jessica Abel. She has a book on how to draw comics and how to do comic storytelling. There's a lot of really good books out there. Let me see. Yeah, there's just so much good advice. But I mean, if you basically just read comics and not just enjoy them, because if you're serious about becoming a creator, reread them and reread them thoughtfully and figure out how people are doing things differently. Figure out how they're doing differently than you would expect or from other creators, and which of those techniques you think, well, if you figure out how they made you so happy with a comic story, and not just like the moment you were happy, but also how they built up to it, you're going to teach yourself comics pretty quickly.
That is a great piece of advice. I've mined you for a lot of advice today, so I want to end with asking, here in the Popverse, we celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics. What are you geeking out about that you're not working on? So no Wonder Woman.
Actually, for ages, DC struggled making an actual teen-friendly teen comic books. Marvel has too. I mean, if you remember, like their Dark and Gritty Ultimates universe started off as a teen project, and then left that really quickly because they didn't know how to do it. The recent YA graphic novels from DC are amazing. Let me see, like the one on Raven from Teen Titans, and then progressing into a whole series. Yeah, those books, they actually have hired YA talent to lead those projects, and the editors have adapted, which is the biggest problem before. It's because editors who are used to doing traditional superhero comic books didn't want to have to change their storytelling styles and learn new skills to adapt to new audiences, and now they have, and it's amazing what happens when you're willing to learn.
When you're willing to learn. Well said, Gene Ha. Thank you for joining us here today in the Popverse. Where can people find you? Where can they buy your books? How can they best support you online?
If you just type my name, geneha.com. geneha@.com at the end. That's where you'll find me online. You'll also on that website find appearances where you'll see what conventions I'll be showing up at. I like doing free sketches for kids, so if you bring your kids along, I want to make sure they have a fun time at a convention. So just mention you saw this interview, your kid deserves a free sketch because they're a kid, and I will do my best to get a really nice little beautiful or large black and white head sketch of anything they want for them.
Thank you so much for joining us today here at C2E2.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. And also, Chris Arad, hi, I miss you.